Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League in partnership with Venturi Studios. Tonight is round 10 of Tier 1 from Hungary and the Hungaring. It's a fantastic little circuit, nice and naturey, so we should see quite a lot of action as we have done already this week. My name is JPH and joining me as always is Bruce. Good evening, Bruce. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, JPH. Yeah, all good. Looking forward to this. A difficult circuit, this one. Lots of dangerous curbs to look out for, and yeah, some quite frantic racing. As we saw, if anyone did see it last night at the end of the Tier 2 race, it was pretty hectic to say the least. So yeah, I'm expecting we should have some pretty exciting stuff tonight.
Absolutely, we know the safety car chance is extremely high around here. I mean, it's almost like a slightly bigger Monaco, isn't it? With in respects to if you get it wrong, it goes very wrong around this circuit. It's very rare you get away with making those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's especially through the S's. One of the main pinch points at the start really is turn four. Easy to get on the curb there and lose the rear end, and the only place you tend to end up there is the wall normally. And through the sweepers again, another place we've seen it a few times this week. People lose the rear and there's just not a lot of runoff really to play with. So yeah, this does reward very, very precise racing, but you've kind of got to always be on your toes because it can just suddenly catch you out and bite you at the when you least expect it.
You have to kind of drive with that little bit of caution, but still on the limit. It's a very fine margin, but Destiny's going to be the first one to take to the circuit and see if you can find that fine balance of pace, but yet it's almost that security of not crashing. So be interesting to see what everyone does here tyre-wise. I'm expecting everyone to go softs all the way through because you don't really, whilst it's quite a long session for the circuit length, you don't really have that long to make sure you get your laps in, especially if you have a spin.
No, definitely. I mean, yeah, you do have that advantage of it being a smaller lap, but yeah, there's a couple of guys. Looks like Ginger Tiger and Ash heading out on medium tyres to start the session. So yeah, maybe just to get a couple of bankers in. I mean, they're going to be a bit down the order with those, but and Mert currently sat in the pits on inters, which is something we've seen him do pretty regularly this season.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely have to ask him about that if we get the chance tonight, because it's not the first time we've seen him do that, and it seemingly won't be the last either. I wonder if it's just purely to save a set of softs for the race on that off chance. Because you only tend to, unless you pick a softer balance of tyres, you only tend to get the 3 sets of softs for the weekend. But we'll go on board with Destiny. He's just coming through the last corner, turn 14. We'll go for a lap with the Alpine. DRS wide open to start the lap. So you head down towards turn number 1. Hit the brakes about where the curb starts. Get turned in a lot of curve from Destiny, probably a little bit too much. But be careful on the throttle because there's a little rise on the exit of 1. And it carries on round. DRS back open for a brief moment before you head into turn 2. Long off-camber corner, and then 3 is absolutely flat. Up towards 4. Tricky corner if you get it wrong. Use a touch of curb on the entry, touch of curb on the apex and the exit for the fastest route, but the risk is the car spinning. Turn 5, awkward because of that inside curb, then into the 6-7 chicane, which generally is a nasty corner to get the car turned in. Into 8, 9, then 10. 9 a little bit tighter than 8, and then it opens up through 10, and then 11. Just a slight lift to get the front to bite. And then back on the throttle as you head down towards turn 12. A 90-degree right-hander, third gear. Use a bit of curb on the entry. A bit too much curb on the exit, I think, from Destiny there. Through 13. Just got to be patient with the throttle. As you head up towards 14, and again, take a couple of lines you can take from 14. Takes the middle ground. Can go a bit of a later apex on that to straighten up the run to the line, but it's a 1:16.234 to kick off this qualifying session. Jack goes second with a 1:16.8. There's Brando Camalengo, who goes 1:15.4, and that's going to start setting a benchmark for the rest of the session.
Yeah, it's good stuff there. I was just watching ARL there. He seemed to have some trouble with his car at turn 3. Looked like some sort of technical difficulty, and Ginger Tiger came screaming round turn 3, and it was very, very close to a massive collision. Yeah, Ginger did well to avoid him and sets a 1:17.0 on those mediums, but I've absolutely no doubt he was very distracted by ARL's very static Alfa Romeo, and ARL is now in the pits as well, so clearly something not quite right for the Alfa Romeo driver.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for ARL, but luckily he's got enough time to get at least 2 more laps in. Astube on the mediums coming around for his first flyer. Nick Houston has gone second with a 15.5, got spooked to 15.7. What can Astube do? So 16.5 on the mediums, puts himself into 6th. Mercked on the intermediate tyre, looks like also no ERS. But we know he's not on the right tyre. We don't really know why, but that's the way things are for Mercked. He can seemingly afford to do this.
Yeah, like you say, it'd be nice to know the reasoning behind it, but yeah, obviously that's going to drastically improve upon once he gets some soft tyres on that car. Yeah, good to see Nick Houston back up near the front. You know, I think he missed last week, but the week before at I believe it was Monza, he won the race, the main race. So yeah, it was a great effort from him, and good to see him battling up the front. And you know, Brando's on a good run of form as well at the moment, so you know, pace-wise, so good to see him up the front end as well, and it gives Merck something to try and aim for now throughout the rest of the session.
Yeah, absolutely. Stinos, Merck's teammate, he's on his first flying lap. We know how good Stinos is, how quick he can be. Drops a gear through 11 there, maybe just to make the front end turn a bit nicer. Comes towards the end of his lap. These last 2 corners, you can either get them perfect or they become really clumsy if you're not careful. And Stinos running out of ERS coming the end of the lap, and it's a 16.1 for Stinos. But I get the feeling that he forgot to turn off his ERS on his out lap, and he's actually ended up running out near the end of that first flyer.
Yeah, quite possible. Obviously, you wouldn't normally run out of your ERS in a single lap. JP currently going around. JP sitting in as a reserve against Knights in the McLaren. He's about 4 tenths up currently on his best time, so he's looking to maybe improve around about Stinos' time here. Interesting to see exactly what he can do around the final corner. And 4th it is for JP. So yeah, a really good showing from the T2 driver.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if JP can keep this pace up, because obviously qualifying is one thing, as we know. The race is a different ball game, and obviously where the points count. So it'd be interesting to see if JP, if he sets these sorts of times in qualifying, how well that pace holds up in the race as well. Good evening to Caden and ARL. ARL saying he registered as like 80% brakes on all the way through the lap, so he's had to limp back to the pits. He's hoping he didn't impede anyone.
Yeah, it's definitely consistent with what I saw. It just looked like the car was sort of locking up in a very random way at a very low speed. So yellow flag, I think that might just be possibly JP getting out of the way. Stinos on his in-lap had a huge moment on the left-hander out of the chicane. He's come around it, seems to have hooked up on the curb. He's caught the car, but he's ended up a long way off in a runoff. And it's probably one of the only places where you can get away with being that far off track. But yeah, a bit of a moment, and I'm sure not one he'll want to repeat again tonight.
Absolutely, and we've seen incidents this week at turn 9. The right-hander after that turn 8 left-handers. So that section very notorious for those sorts of mistakes. Use a bit too much trust in the curves. And turn 5, where Jack is at the moment, that's another one. If you take too much of the inside curve, you very much can become a passenger there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Jack ever so slightly up on his previous best, but not by a huge amount after Sector 1. It'll be interesting now as he comes down to the end of Sector 2, nearly 3 tenths up, which is obviously an improvement, but still a fair way off of the front running pace at the moment. So, yeah, I think unless he can pull something massively out the bag here at the end of this lap, I think he's going to be maybe improving up to 7th at best.
Up to the line, Jack comes. It's going to be a 16.398, 7th place for the Ferrari. Destiny is currently he was 0.34 up, but he just lost the back end out of 11. Got away with it, but not the ideal lap there for the Alpine.
No, and this is the problem with the circuit. It can genuinely bite you when you least expect it. You can feel quite comfortable, and all of a sudden it all goes wrong as Louis crosses the line to go 7th. So it's a good start there for Louis. That's his first flying lap, I believe. Still waiting for ARL and MDJ to put in a lap. MDJ is currently on an out lap and about to start his flying lap right now.
Ginger Tiger's just put in a 16.1 to put himself in 6th. Nick Houston has started his latest attempt in qualifying, so we'll keep an eye on his lap here because he is just under a tenth behind the provisional pole of Brando Camalengo. More movement as
Merckx just put his lap on. He's up to 3rd, so not too far off the top pace there.
I think Astrid was moved up to 5th as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right. I believe he was a little bit further down than that. So it's really, really good stuff from the Alfa Romeo driver. MDJ now, it'd be interesting to see what he can do on his first flying lap.
And Nick Houston, after 2 sectors, is 0.27 up on his current personal best. This would see him in that provisional pole position. He's just got 2 more corners to navigate. Arguably, the whole circuit's difficult, but on a qualifying lap, these are arguably the 2 hardest corners on the circuit to get right. I'm going to bring it up. It's a 15.171. And Nick Houston, he's definitely back, and Brando has invalidated his latest attempt.
Yeah, MDJ just reined in the last one. A big wobble through 11 for MDJ, but managed to hold it. Only 10th for Williams.
And ARL comes through for 6th, a 15.922. Fantastic stuff from ARL there. He's obviously got back, giving the mechanics a bit of grief about his car, and it seems like they've managed to fix it.
Yeah, we love technical issues, don't we? Especially on as you're just about to go into the race. But yeah, really good from ARL there. Pretty much right next to his Alfa Romeo teammate.
Stinos goes second quickest with a 15.198.
Yeah, very close to Nick Houston. Yeah, indeed. So yeah, really, really good showing there from Stinos. So yeah, a bit of work here for the usual suspects to make to get to the front of the field for pole position. But yeah, really good to see Nick and Stinos putting the fight out there at the moment.
Absolutely. Good evening to Renz, who's joining us here for Tier 1 tonight. It's good to see you in the chat. And well, we'll see if we can top what you saw yesterday in Tier 2, but you never know what might happen. But we're coming to that part of the session as MDJ decides he doesn't fancy waiting for the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo in the pit lane.
Nobody got time for that by the looks of it from MDJ, and yeah, straight down the side of everyone in the pits.
That is perfectly legal as well.
It is, yeah. Everyone else obviously being careful going in the pits. I guess they don't want to pick up a 5-place grid penalty for speeding. So, yeah, MDJ just thinking, yeah, hang on, lads, what are we doing here? This is a bit too slow, but
maybe
yeah, very interesting.
Practicing for the race just in case, though.
Yeah.
We are good, Reds. Me and Bruce are good. Hope you are well as well. Jack is about to start his lap. His let's say current temporary teammate in Jack, as Jack is a reserve. His temporary teammate of Louis for this evening. He's gone out for his outlap. It's just the Ferraris on circuit right now.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, a tactic here for the Ferraris. I don't know if I'm right in thinking this. I may have misread this completely, but I believe Jack is now down as a full-time driver, perhaps. But let me just check that one a minute. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to check it anyway. So.
Or the paddock gossip.
Yeah, Jack is indeed now a full-time Ferrari driver. So yeah, Jack and Louis bona fide teammates now. So yeah, it would be interesting to see. Obviously, they'll want to work their way up from the back row of the grid. A big wobble there for Jack through 9.
Very big wobble and very wide. How he didn't hit the barrier and invalidate his lap, because this lap is still live and it's still good right now.
Yeah, he was a very long way off. I don't know if the game maybe considered that he actually was at a disadvantage there anyway, which is... He comes in the pits. This is going to have to be a very, very... Oh, he's lost it. And I don't quite know what happened there. That was very magical.
Yeah, that looked very much like a skill reset in the pit lane there.
I don't think I've ever seen a reset in the pit lane before. That's a very new one. But yeah, he's going to have a bit of hard work getting the turnaround now. The mechanics aren't the fastest. Look, they're not exactly rushing. They're just, yeah, slowly. Yeah, there goes the Jack at 3 miles an hour into the pit lane. So,
I mean, they are still checking at the moment whether
they're very much, yeah, they're still looking. So, yeah,
Louis,
big tough.
On a lap. Just going through sector 2 as we... as he's the only one on a hot lap at the moment for the other Ferrari. Through turn 11. 0.14 up at the moment, so he'll move up a few spots here. And Jack, I think he's going to get out just in time for another lap, another attempt. Here he comes up to the line. What can he post? It's a 1:16.052. That puts him in 9th place. That's a good little jump from Louis. But obviously we do have now everyone starting their final laps. MDJ being one of them, which you'd have to think, with MDJ's pace, he should be more up near maybe the top 5, top 6 area.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we normally expect a bit more than this from MDJ. I believe he is actually the next driver to complete his flying lap as well, followed then, I believe, by Ginger Tiger. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on Ginger Tiger, see how he can perform as well. But yeah, MDJ will be looking to improve on this massively.
MDJ has abandoned his current lap. So Ginger Tiger is the next one to set a competitive lap time. See MDJ just maybe just have to slide through the chicane and just going, I'll recharge the battery and go again, because he does have the time for that. And ARL's been given a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Nick Houston. I wonder if that brake problem has come back for ARL.
Yeah, it'd be quite possibly. Ginger Tiger moves up to 6th, so a really good effort there from the Aston Martin. Yeah, that's a big shame for ARL. Obviously sat in 8th at the moment. The car seems to be travelling okay at the moment, so yeah, not really quite sure what happened there.
Check just coming across the line there. Who's next? It's going to be ARL. Doesn't look like there's much damage on Nick Houston's car. But he's coming in the pits. ARL crosses the line. Yeah, definitely not competitive there. 129. Ashtube puts himself into 5th. I'm going to do something I don't usually do as well.
Merck half a second up. I think he could get pole position here. And there it is from Merck. 1:14.
Sub 15. That's a fantastic time from Merck. I'm just having a quick look. I mean, something I don't usually do is display telemetry data. But it doesn't look like there's any brake problem hindering ARL at the moment, so obviously I don't know what's happened between him and Nick Houston. But obviously it doesn't look like it was caused by the brake failure that ARL was experiencing. Got spooked finishes, he doesn't go any quicker.
Brando is just under 2/10 up on his best time, but it's still going to be a struggle, I think, to get on that front row of the grid. We shall see right now.
It's 51
and it is
for a row.
second. So yeah, he pulled a good amount of time in that final sector there on his previous best. That's a great effort from the Alpine.
Jack doesn't improve. He's going to start this race in 14th, although I say that. AR has that grid penalty. I don't know if Nick Houston might have a grid penalty as well, because I'm pretty certain I saw 2 flashes at the top. So I wonder if the game is giving them both a 5-place grid penalty. We will find this out, obviously, when we get to the qualifying results. But Nick Houston could be starting P8.
Yeah, that would be very unfortunate. Obviously, without knowing exactly what happened, it's hard to know whether or not they would deserve penalties. I mean, I think a 5-place grid penalty is very harsh anyway at the best of times. But yeah, considering they both didn't really seem to have much damage on their cars, a little bit of a strange one.
I'm hearing some team radio from ARL, and allegedly Nick Houston came back on track like a madman, is what I'm hearing off the team radio for the Alfa Romeo guys. So that'll be probably down to the steward's office for those 2 drivers. Just waiting for Ashtube to be pushed back into his garage before the session ends, and there we go. We get a nice chase cam of Malc, which is quite unusual. Normally get the onboard camera, but Malc will take a provisional pole position, and Nick Houston and ARL will pick up 5-place grid penalties for the race. But Bruce, would you like to take us through the qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix?
Absolutely. So yeah, Malc there, a pole position for him with the only driver under a 1:15, so that's a great effort from him. Brando Camalanga, great final lap there to put himself on the front row alongside the Mercedes. Nick Houston third, but with the 5-place that drops him, so it'll be Stinos third, MDJ fourth on the grid, Ashtube fifth, Gotspoot will be sixth, Nick Houston. I believe then
Ginger 7th.
Sorry, then Ginger, then then Nick Houston, then Maggot, JP, Louis, Destiny, Jack, and I believe that'll be ARL at the back of the grid.
I mean, it seems like definitely an unfair. It's going to be an unfair penalty for. Obviously, we didn't see the incident, so we can't really comment on what really happened. But obviously, one of those penalties is going to be an unfair penalty in one respect or another. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen this from the game. I mean, you remember a season ago for Tier 3 when I ended up with a 5-place penalty because the computer AIs crashed into each other.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and obviously without the ability to really, the stewards to be able to see it in real time, there's not a lot that can really be done about it. Because one of those penalties may be a deserved penalty, as you say. So yeah, it's a shame that both of them have a penalty. It may well be that both of them don't deserve the penalty, but it is what it is, unfortunately. And it's a long race, so there's plenty of time to make a difference, and hopefully that penalty won't be too.
Yeah, I mean, it's 35 laps, which sounds like a lot, but around this circuit it does go by pretty quickly, depending on the state. I mean, it looks like we've got nice sunny conditions as well, so a dry race will make it that much better. I mean, strategy-wise, we're looking at a one-stop if it stays green, but we know that obviously in Tier 3 we saw a lot of people that were probably going to be going medium to hard, or hard to medium. We did have the occasion when I was looking maybe going soft to hard or soft to medium. I think we're going to see a lot of the Tier 1 drivers look for that soft to medium strategy because they tend to be able to look after the tyres a little bit better and still find that pace.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you save the set of softs in quali, then the game does suggest a soft medium strategy. Whereas if you haven't saved the set of softs, then it does suggest doing the hard medium strategy instead. So, I don't think there's too much in it pace-wise between the two strats. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what everyone does. But here we go.
So we're going to have the 5 red lights, and we are racing for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and the question is who's going to have the better getaway. On board with Merc as we head down towards turn 1. Brando's still got his wing there, but is that going to transform into a move? He's looking to the inside still. Side by side for the lead on the exit. Brando gets a good exit, but Merc on the outside gets that little bit of extra traction down towards turn 2. Off camber, left-hander there, still side by side for the lead. Alpine versus Mercedes into turn 3. Flat right-hander, and Brando just decides that was a little bit too close for comfort as they head up towards turn 4 for the first time. It's side by side between Got Spooked and Ash Tube. They're still side by side into 5. Great racing from the pair to go through that corner side by side. That's a very risky move. Into the chicane we go, and they're still racing for position. I think they got a little bit tangled up as well. Ash Tube, I think, has gone off wide into the grass, along with Got Spooked and Nick Houston. Oh, there's more contact between the AlphaTauri and the McLaren. And I did see some end fence coming off. I think that's off of Got Spook's car, but that's kind of created a massive gap, and that was a massively wide Alfa Romeo in the background of ARL. Ginger Tiger up to 7th now, past Ash Tube. Into the penultimate corner we go. And I got a feeling we're going to see an AlphaTauri in the pits potentially. No. Okay, so I don't know whose wing's broken. I think it might be Ash Tube's.
And Destiny as well.
And ARL, oh dear, that's not going to work for ARL. He's going to end up double stacking with Ash Tube on the first lap. Nick Houston looking to the inside of Got Spooked. Slides it down the inside. A little bit of contact there, but kind of hard to say. Nick Houston was there alongside the AlphaTauri. And everything, it looks like, just starting to calm down, but we now have this big gap between the lead group and the leader of the second group of Nick Houston of 4.2 seconds, but it is Merckx who still leads the way.
Yeah, clean start for Merckx at the front, and Brando seemingly. There was a bit of contact as well between JP and I believe it was Destiny at turn 3. But like JP just got on the curb on the inside and slid slightly into the Alpine, but there was no real damage done. JP lost a few places, but obviously now he's made them back up with everyone having to pile in the pits. And yeah, it just got very, very messy, didn't it, on that first lap in the second sector, but everything seems to have settled down now. Nick Houston's obviously made his way up now to 5th, but a pretty heavy 4.5 seconds behind now. He's taking that time to get through the pack.
And it's hard to tell what damage he may have sustained from that instant between turns 8 and 9, because that all started with Spooked and Ash Tube being side by side from turn 3 all the way to the 6-7 chicane, and I'm pretty certain, obviously the camera angle didn't help myself, but it looked like they kind of got tangled up on the exit, and that's what opened the gap for those behind. And going side by side through that S's section is not a very easy task to have, but I reckon Nick Houston definitely has some damage we can't see, because he's losing time to Stinos, and he still has Got Spooked right behind him.
Yeah, got a possibility. Just trying to get a view. I mean, the end plates are still on that car, so yeah, it could well be a bit of hidden damage, maybe a bit of floor damage perhaps on the McLaren. But yeah, as you say, once that car at the front got tapped slightly sideways, everyone just sort of piled into each other. I mean, they all did pretty well to avoid any serious contact, but obviously, the 3 guys have still had to come in the pits at the end of the lap because of it, which is a big shame for them. But yeah, it's a long way to go, and we know the risk of safety cars around here, so it's not over at all. It's still a very long way to go.
The 2 Ferraris having a bit of a fight here for 10th. These 2 need to work together, play a bit of a team game, and because they've lost that DRS to JP, they need to get back in range of that, otherwise they will get dropped very quickly as Destiny picks up 3 seconds of penalties already. A warning a lap is not the way to forward in this race. But
no, it's not ideal.
Looking at the tyres, obviously we have those 3 pit stoppers, but those that haven't pit stopped, we've only got 2 on the soft tyres, which is Merckx and Brando, the rest on the medium. So this is going to be quite important for Merckx and Brando to get away from MDJ, because if MDJ stays as Destiny's retired in the pits, if MDJ stays with Brando and Merckx, he's going to be a real threat come the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is great work at the moment from MDJ on these medium tyres, sticking with the 2 guys in front. and yeah, doing a great job. But Stinos is catching up pretty nicely as well at the moment between these front guys. So yeah, it's excellent stuff from them. Got a spook now right on the back of Nick Houston. But yeah, at the moment, you'd have to say MDJ is in a very, very smart position.
And the retiring Destiny car could pose issues here for the likes of Brando. See, DRS is active, but that's like kink in the road right just after turn 1. It's just gone back green, so we're good to go. But there's always the risk when someone retires in the pit lanes. Obviously, the car does come back out, retire, and cause a yellow flag, and you don't want that at turn 1, because ultimately that's one of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit.
Yeah, definitely, it is one of the best spots, and obviously, in turn 1 you can you can put the pressure, put the guy in front onto the wrong line to then open up turn 2 for yourself as an opportunity. So yeah, you don't really want yellow flags around there. As you say, the rest of the circuit very, very difficult to get past, and when people have tried overtakes in some of the other parts of the circuit this week, we have seen some fair drama. So yeah, pretty ideal for it to stay green for as long as possible.
We've also witnessed that in this race tonight already as well. People making moves in places you don't normally see them, but back at the front we do have a 3-car DRS train. I think Stinos just outside, so he's going to have to probably burn some ERS here if he wants to get back into this train. So Nick Houston now 5.2 behind, so he is still losing time. And no one yet making that move. I just wonder if people are trying to save their ERS, because we know how good Merckx is at it. And it's quite a powerful tool around the circuit.
Indeed. Jack in the pits. I'm not sure quite why he's on the mediums. He's getting a new front wing, so I don't quite know what's happened to Jack there. Maybe he's run into the back of Louis, perhaps. Because he wasn't far enough behind to have hit anything, to have had a significant off on the circuit. We didn't see any yellow flags, so yeah, very strange one there for Jack. Maybe just running into the back of his teammate, perhaps.
In the mid-pack, we've got Ginger Tiger and Maggots getting quite close for company, but again, Maggot not quite close enough to make a move in the middle part of the lap. MDJ just 2/10s behind Brando though, so could we see the Williams starting to shape up a move against the Alpine?
Yeah, this is almost MDJ telling Brando, like, we need to get on with this, we need to get past Merckx. Stinos still flirting with the DRS as well. I think they may be just inside. He is not. So yeah, Stinos still, unfortunately for him, just outside DRS.
And here comes MDJ
getting closer
to the outside of Brando. Makes Brando defend, looking for the switch back down towards 2. Just likes the rears up a little bit, which is enough to let Brando clear in front. But they're going to have to be careful. They don't want to fight too much, because Merckx will get away. And we always know if Merckx gets that second gap, he tends to drive away at a fair rate of knots as well. So if they're going to battle, they're going to have to do this very sensibly.
Definitely, I think MDJ, he's one of those drivers that, whilst he will try and sort of show his nose, he won't do anything silly that will hamper their progress. So yeah, as long as Brando doesn't fight too hard and too over aggressively, I think they'll still be able to stick with Merckx. And as it is, Brando has actually caught Merckx quite a lot on this lap, so maybe he's starting to get that message for the hurry up from MDJ.
Meanwhile, we didn't see it on camera, but Nick Houston has been overtaken by Got Spooked for 5th place. The AlphaTauri up into the top 5, but I don't think any position in that midfield is secure at any cost after that first lap. But here comes MDJ, and Brando's out of VRS. So this should become a very easy move here for MDJ. He'll have the ERS to play with, down towards 2. He's going to look round the outside. No, it's a good option. A little bit of contact, and Brando's almost round. He saved the car. That's a great save. But it just looked like Brando just had a bit of understeer, clipped the inside of MDJ. And he's lucky to still be driving, but that was a good bit of car control from the Alpine.
Yeah, good save from Brando. Yeah, I don't think that was anything more than just a racing incident, to be honest, looking at that. But yeah, MDJ now all over the time here and trying to get past. And these soft tyres are going to be starting to show their age pretty much now, really. I think 7 laps is pretty much where you're at with those soft tyres before they start to drop off the cliff a little bit. So, yeah, I think MDJ needs to make this count now while he can. And obviously Merckx will get an undercut of sorts when he decides to come in the pits. So MDJ really needs to get on with this and get up the road as quickly as he possibly can.
Makes you wonder what Merckx and Brando are planning here, because we know the softs don't last a long time. MDJ now running out of ERS, trying to now take the fight to the Mercedes.
Yeah, he can't quite get the grip still. I think it's still showing they have maybe just enough grip at the moment out of the tighter corners to enable them to hold their positions. But yeah, I mean, Brando's not really dropping off the back here, is he either? He's still in this train at the moment. So it would be interesting to see whether or not the soft tyres of Merckx and Brando go for the one stop to the mediums in sort of maybe 7 or 8 laps time perhaps, or whether or not they fancy a two-stopper.
Or could we see them go to the hard tyre?
Potential. I mean, the hard tyre is not a bad tyre, as Stinos goes very, very wide there. But yeah, the hard tyre is not a bad tyre around this track, to be honest. There isn't. I mean, there's obviously pace difference between the mediums and the hards, but it doesn't seem too horrific around this place. So yeah, I mean, the options are there for these soft tyre runners. Obviously, they don't want to drag it out too long and find they put themselves in a bit of a hole.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't be the ideal situation. On to lap 10 we go. Now, I did say in the start, this race will go quickly. It's a lot of laps, but very little time for those laps, and MDJ still stuck behind the Mercedes for now. Maggot has got past Ginger Tiger in the last few laps, and interesting, Louis is slowly getting onto the back of JP here as well for 9th.
Yeah, it's good performance that from Louis, because he was a little bit off the back of the pack, wasn't he, for a while? So he is slowly clawing himself back into this race. Yeah, he isn't too far away from the likes of Nick Houston in 6th at the moment. So yeah, if he keeps working like this, then he's got every chance of getting himself up a few places before the end of this race.
Look at the front there, the top 4 covered by about 1.3, 1.4 seconds. And I'm just looking at that gap for Got Spooked. So see, that's where Nick Houston was. It was up to around about 5.5 seconds. It's now down to 4.5. And Spooked is slowly dragging Nick Houston with him as well. So be interesting to see how that gap unfolds and whether Got Spooked can maybe start to try and reel in this top 4 and try and get his nose in this fight as well. It's not going to be easy, as MDJ to the outside. Breaks later to get that deeper apex. That gives him enough space on the outside to complete the move, and down towards turn 2. I think Merck's going to get shuffled out a little bit. Yep. MDJ, your new race leader on lap number 11.
Yeah, good move that from MDJ. So now this is a question of, can he check out a bit at the front, get away from the soft shod tyres of Merckx, and yeah, try and make this count. But yeah, he is flashing, and that's Jack. He's retired.
He spun out of the final corner, and it's a safety car.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of almost weirdly, it's perfect timing for the soft tyre runners, but also that's not actually bad timing really for MDJ either. After just getting into the lead, it gives him options as well. It's kind of almost an even Stevens safety car that for when that's actually come out.
I think we're going to see everyone in for the hard compound tyre. This one, and Stinos unfortunately is going to be a little bit of a loser on this one, because he's going to have to double stack with Merckx, which is going to cost him 3rd place on the circuit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a disaster for Stinos. He could possibly still make it out in 5th, but don't know, that may still be a bit pushing it, to be honest. We shall see right now how much this affects him.
So let's see what tyres are going on to what vehicles. Mercked onto a set of medium tyres. MDJ a set of hards. Brando a set of mediums. Stinos hards. Got Spooked has gone soft, so he's pitting again. Nick Houston to hards. Maggot to hards. Ginger to hards. JP to soft, so he'll be pitting again. Louis gone to the hard tyre, and I would suspect we're going to have both the Alfa Romeos in for probably hard compound tyres.
So yeah, that's a pretty decent mishmash of tyre compounds here now for the second phase of the race. Stinos actually not doing too bad. They're only dropping behind Brando, so it was not ideal. That could have been a lot worse, although he's going to have, obviously, the soft tyres have got Spooked steaming through pretty quick, I think. And we know, as you say, Got Spooked was starting to close on that pack at the front, whilst on the medium tyres, so it'd be interesting to see what he can do early doors on these softs once we get going again.
Yeah, interestingly, ARL has decided he's going to stay out on those medium tyres. So maybe thinking catch the safety car first to make sure that it doesn't go without them.
Yeah, I wonder whether or not that could be the case. He's actually just worried that, you know, maybe if he did go in the pits and, you know, he could get overtaken by the safety car and be a lap down possibly. Yeah, I think it's probably just a safety thing here from ARL, or, you know, an opportunity to burn these mediums for an extra lap, which means then that he's obviously not on those hard tyres if that's what he switches to for one lap longer than he needs to be.
Really interesting to see, that's for certain. Safety car staying up for another lap. Here comes ARL. What does he do? He now filters into the pit, so maybe thinking of the double stack potential with Ash Tube, maybe. And as you say, that time.
It'll be interesting to see what ARL does switch to now.
Hard compound.
Yeah, hard compound. So he's obviously thinking of going to the end of this race now. It'd be interesting whether Merckx and Brando feel that they can get to the end of this race as well on those medium tyres. Yeah, this is quite an interesting phase, as I say, and I think there's obviously JP and Got Spook. We know they're going to have to pit again. Can they make the difference with the softer compounds compared to all the hard runners to enable themselves to, you know, get that extra pit stop and still not lose out?
Yes. I mean, safety car check. I mean, I just wonder if Got Spooks and JP are thinking we're going to have another safety car before the end of this race. So get up the order using these soft compound tyres, and then when that safety car comes out, they can come in and grab another set of tyres. And either they're going to have a lot fresher tyres and be right with everyone, or everyone comes in and they'll gain that track position.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think a safety car is in this lap. Yeah, with the soft tyres, they kind of need this to now be pretty much a green flag race to the end of the race. I'd have thought, to make the most of it. Oh, that was really close. Ginger Tiger nearly into the back of Maggot, and well, it says they collided.
Did
but
end
it
up
didn't
in the
look like
back
they
of
collided.
Meanwhile, we're on board with MDJ. When does he go? Does he go late? Does he go early? That's for MDJ to know and Merck to find out. Nice and wide in this final corner, looking to straighten it up maybe. Still not gone. We're looking like we're going to wait to the line. And he does go now. That's a good little jump on Merck. Still, as you say, taking full advantage, coming down towards turn one, and it looks like Got Spooked on the inside of Nick Houston. Oh, contact between the Merc and the Alpine. And I got a feeling Got Spooked may have just lost an end plate on his car as well for good measure, but we stay green for now. And yet the AlphaTauri got spooked, has lost an end plate, and the two McLarens were fighting through turn 3. That almost got nasty as we go over the crest for turn 4, that blind left-hander. And it's no wonder why Nick Houston's under attack. He's also lost end plate as well.
Yeah, a bit of a disaster. It looked like Brando just got a little bit sideways on the exit. I didn't exactly see what happened during that. I just saw him sideways in front of Got Spooked. Got Spooked kind of had nowhere to go, unfortunately, and then that in itself fired Brando off to the side. So massive disaster there for the guys. But good battle here, Louis on Louis on Nick Houston. Sorry.
Yeah, you get a feeling with that damage, Nick Houston a little bit of a sitting duck, and he's going to have Brando and ARL fighting with him. I don't know if Brando's actually picked up any damage from that. I don't think he has.
It's quite miraculous because he took a hell of a whack to the rear wing as well of that car. So I'm surprised he has no rear wing damage.
Meanwhile, at the front, side by side between MDJ and Merckx. Has Merckx got the run down to turn 2? The question is, his nose is still there. But I think MDJ should get a bit of better traction, and he'll have the inside for turn 3. They're still side by side up towards turn 4. This is great racing between the Williams and the Merckx. And Merckx will take that position. It looked like MDJ thought, I'm not risking going around the outside of you, especially when you're on the mediums, I'm on the hards, and MDJ thinking maybe he should have the advantage come the end of this race.
Yeah, it's a hard fight there, and I think there, to be fair, Merckx positioned his car very, very well. And it just didn't enable MDJ to close him off through turn 3. So it was good racing between the two, but also very, very good awareness from Merckx to make that as hard as he possibly could for MDJ, whilst being incredibly fair at the same time. So yeah, Brando, a few gaps appearing, but Brando is on the charge
down the inside. Yeah, he just got on the inside of Louis. I must be noted, AR 9th place at the moment. Obviously aided by Spooked and Houston's damage. But nonetheless, you still have to be in there to take the positions, and now Brando looking to catch and line a move up on Ash Tube.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, I think you can only beat you can only race against what's happening in front of you, and that's a big dive down the inside from Brando, spotted by Ash Tube, but Ash Tube may well have the inside, and I think Brando just had a slight lift there, which is what Merckx didn't do, and obviously that's meant he's now come out behind Ash Tube. Going to have a little bit of pain sat behind him now for a few more corners here, I think, until the end of the lap.
Yeah, unless he busts a very video game move in this section. We'll be waiting probably until the main straight once again. Although I think he does tend to like turn 12. This 90-degree right-hander coming down to as an overtaking opportunity, but not on this occasion. We got Ginger Tiger round and a wing missing off the Aston Martin. That was through 11, so probably a clip of the curb into the wall.
Yeah, 11 seems to be one of the favourite spots for people to have issues at the moment this week. So, yeah, big shame for him.
DRS open for Brando. To the outside. Given the room. It's a real favourite, that is turn 1 going around the outside, because you open the steering early, you can get the throttle on earlier, get better traction, it gives you the inside for turn 2. And oh, that was close, and there was definite contact, and here comes Louis. Ever the opportunistic. The Ferrari up into 6th, and Brando, the net position change is nullified.
Yeah, a little bit clumsy that, to be honest, but obviously Ash Tube's lost out there 2 places. Brando finds himself exactly where he was before, and Louis now, as you say, opportunistic, takes the 2 spots away, and yeah, Brando finds himself once again stuck behind a car that's on the harder tyre towards the end of this lap.
Oh, and he's practically pushing Louis down towards turn 12, and I get the feeling if he decides to make this move up towards the penultimate corner, you'll have to give that back. And Ash Tube poking his nose in the penultimate corner. ARL sitting there with some popcorn, wondering what's going to happen, who's going to end up in a war at this rate.
Yeah, a little bit feisty, isn't it? But yeah, here we go. Brando is flashing, but he's got enough DR with the DRS to get past. And does Astube fancy his chance on Louis as well? A late show to the inside, but I think he's not quite going to get it done. Louis just enough there coming out of turn one.
And turn soon. Astube just looking for that gap. Nick Newsom sets fast slap on those soft tyres. Stinos picks up 3 seconds of penalties for track infringements. So that's not going to help his day. And now Louis picks up 3 seconds.
Yeah, Louis all over the exit curve of turn 4. Brando getting sideways just up ahead on the exit of turn 5. So the drivers are struggling a bit with the grip on this circuit. It's tricky, and yeah, we're starting to see now. Yeah, as the race wears on, it can start to get quite difficult to keep your concentration around the circuit. This is sort of around about the sort of time you'd expect to start to see mistakes creeping in.
Looking at the front, Merckx has now built a 2.7 second gap, and Stinos is now back within DRS range of MDJ. So I think MDJ's made a small error somewhere, which has allowed one Mercedes to get away and one Mercedes to get within range of planning an attack.
Yeah, I feel for Nick now down in 10th, obviously on those softer tyres. This is really now just an extended test session, unless something happens with a safety car now towards the end of the race. Got Speak now just behind the McLaren driver as we speak. But yeah, a little bit spread out now in the middle. This battle for 7th really is currently where it's at the moment.
On board with Astube in the Alfa Romeo. This will be the final season of us saying about the Alfa Romeo team, because obviously the next season's game it will be back to the Sauber team, or the team stake kick Sauber, whatever sponsors you want to chuck onto your team name, as teams seem to do nowadays. But Astube just not able to quite find that last couple of tenths here to put Louis under that pressure through this middle part of the circuit, and it's kind of showing that Louis is just getting enough of that gap at the moment for the main straight.
Yeah, Louis doing a fine job at the moment of holding on to this 7th place, and you know, he's looking pretty tidy here, because at the moment you'd have to think that at least JP is going to have to pit again in front of him. So he's looking at, really, this is kind of a net 6th place at the bare minimum for Louis at the moment, which I think would be a great result for the Ferrari driver. But yeah, he's obviously still a long way to go, but he's doing a fantastic job of keeping the Alfa Romeo behind him.
And remember, if every one of the remaining drivers finish this race, they get points. Top 12 score points in Invictus Racing League. 12 gets you a solitary championship point. So no need, well, I say no need, there's no reason for anyone to retire from this race other than making a mistake and having their car disabled effectively by the game.
Absolutely, and what this does mean as well, just for anyone who's unsure of the current championship situation, Merck leading by 54 points going into tonight with only 54 points available. I'm pretty sure that he's probably outdone people on wins anyway throughout the season. But yeah, Merck literally only needs the 1 point to confirm that he is definitely champion. And so yeah, as long as he finishes this race now, then he will be confirmed.
I mean, who is second in that championship at the moment?
I believe it's MDJ on MDJ is the 54 points behind him at the moment. So yeah, obviously MDJ's been putting a good fight to him in recent times, but I think the start of the season didn't quite go so well for the Williams driver, and that's why he sort of found himself behind Merck by quite some distance. But he's had a fair resurgence this second half of the season, has the Williams driver. And yeah, good to see, and hopefully he can continue that into the next season, and yeah, put the fight to the Mercedes driver. But yeah, as I say, Merck, MDJ would have to win this race and get fastest lap with Merck retiring from this race to even carry it on to the next round, which was the realms of MDJ winning a race and getting fastest lap. Is not impossible, obviously, because we know he's fast. The chance of Merck retiring from all 3 races is incredibly unlikely, I think.
And what of the constructors' situation at the moment?
Constructors.
ARL has been released by AshTube. So maybe ARL getting on the blower going, let me have a crack, let me see what I can do with him. So let's see how this switch goes around. It's good teamwork from the pair to try and maximise the points they can get. As Got Spooked finally gets back past Nick Houston into the top 10 for the AlphaTauri, but we obviously believe Nick Houston is going to have to pit anyway, so that position swap was inevitable.
So yeah, the constructors, as requested by yourself, Mercedes are 74 points clear currently of McLaren. So yeah, at the moment I think the way Merck and Stinnoff stand, what's the maximum you can get there? You can get 32 a race.
They need over 64 by the end of tonight, which is looking very likely.
It's looking incredibly likely at the moment, isn't it?
Especially on the basis that the McLarens are not here tonight.
That is actually a very good point, yes. I mean, the McLaren's are only 5 points clear of Williams. At the moment, that is just MDJ at the moment. So
even... Yeah. That basically means that he need both Mercedes to retire and to pretty much win the race to take it to the next Grand Prix. So it's looking very good for the Mercedes team this season.
Yeah, it's very much looking like Mercedes could well be confirmed and Merck could well be confirmed as champions at the end of tonight's race. But there is still 13 laps to go, and who knows? It's a funny sport, motorsport. Anything can happen.
Yes, anything can and will happen in motorsport. That's the battle we're looking at. Is this battle for 7? Because ARL has closed in on the Ferrari, so this switch of positions for the Alfa Romeos has worked, and ARL now in an attacking position. But as we saw with AshTube, it's one thing to catch, it's another to overtake.
Definitely. Looking a bit further, Brando is starting to catch onto the back of JP at the moment as well. MDJ now has a gap to Merck down to 2.5 seconds, so I think those mediums are starting to struggle now a little bit as we hit 12 laps old those medium tyres. I think MDJ starting to maybe have the better rubber on his car right now. And this begs the question now, does Merck try and stick this out and hope he can stay ahead of MDJ? Or does he come into pits and do one of his late assaults that we've seen him do very often before?
Right now, but ARL, this position swap for the Alfa Romeos has really worked because ARL has gone past Louis down the inside, and now AshTube has a run down into turn 2. Down the inside should be move complete, and it is move complete. So that tactic from the Alfa Romeos has worked out perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. I saw Louis run wide. I'm not sure what happened. Was that just genuine run wide? Was it from Louis there at turn 1? Yeah, difficult sometimes when you're fighting 2 teammates to try and stay ahead of both of them. But he's still there. He's still got something has triggered there, and he's switch has flicked, and he now seems to have some pretty good pace.
Question is, can the 2 teammates work together to lose the tail of Louis? Meanwhile, Brando Camalengo is coming in the pits. Okay, so this just got interesting because they're going to fall behind. JP picks up 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane, so that's gone well. But they're both going to fall behind the 2 Alphas, the Ferrari of Louis. And they got Spooked has got the potential with the pace difference down the main straight, and Nick Houston are spoiling this party for these 2, and they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I detected sarcasm now, I think, when you came in, when you commented there. Nick Houston, just at the back end of him here, but he's going to have to pit soon as well, Nick Houston anyway, so I think he's sort of going to very much struggle to keep up these guys in front on the fresh tyres. Yeah, interesting move from Brando. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't go for the soft tyres, to be honest. I'm very surprised. But there we go, JP going for the... Is this his second set of soft tyres now for JP?
I believe so, yes.
So yeah,
They must be
that's
a
probably
used set.
It says 0 laps though. Does it not normally say 1 lap if it's
I'm
been
not
used
sure
before?
if the game
So,
really shows you every detail of it.
hmm.
But I
But
reckon
yeah,
that's why Brando's gone mediums as well. It's because I think he probably used up at least 2 sets in qualifying, and he started on the soft compound tyre as well. So
yeah. I mean, Brando is still showing he has some incredible pace tonight. It's obviously a shame what happened with him earlier on. JP not quite able to make those soft tyres count at the moment. I think he's gonna get overtaken here by the Alpine.
into the first corner, Brando down the inside, Brando ahead.
Yeah, clever driving that from Brando as well. He kind of almost half boxed JP in to the point that JP couldn't really hit the brakes late because of the AlphaTauri have got spooked in front of them. Yeah, this is going to be a man on a mission now, Brando, to the end of this race. It'll be very interesting to see how far up the field he can actually get.
All depends on the time differential per lap. And the problem is, and this is the biggest problem with this strategy, I do like the aggressive style strategy because you can just push the tyres and have done with it. But around this circuit, this is the problem Brando's going to have, is through the sections like this, he will not make up as much time as he would in clean air, and now he's going to look for the move. Looked a bit tentative at first, but he's going to get the move done, but as Gottsprig ends up with a 3-second penalty, wide, and here comes JP. But Brando also now is going to have no DRS available to him, and still side by side between the Alfa Romeo and the Alpha Tauri and the McLaren, and JP got a little bit shuffled off circuit there.
Yeah, he's going for a big move down the inside though. He's going to fight back on the AlphaTauri. It's not quite enough space to do so. Yeah, interesting one. That I think there was probably just about enough room afforded to him, I think. But once he got on that curve, he did start to drift off a little bit over the top of it. But yeah, now Brando has this clean air. He's 7.8 seconds of clean air ahead of him. This is where he needs to start pumping in these lap times now to see if he can start catching the guys in front.
If you're wondering why we're not focusing on the guys at the front, it's because they're pretty boring and on their own at the moment. ARL 7/10 ahead of Ashtube, but Ashtube only half a second ahead of Louis. And look at the pace of Brando Camerlengo. He's already brought that gap down to 6.3 seconds. It's going to be about 3 laps, I think, and he'll be on the tail of that trio.
Yeah, 3 laps may be a massive overestimate. We're about to find out, I think. But yeah, he's going to be up there. He's going to be fighting for 5th very, very quickly. I think we could still see him potentially getting a top 4 by the end of this race. I feel at the moment now as well, Merckx has maybe gone past the point of no return regarding coming in for a pit stop. So I think we could see a straight fight now between Merckx on the old mediums and MDJ on the old hards.
And JP goes down the inside of Got Spooked, but he did go a little bit wide out of turn 1, but he's just about held that position down towards 2, and now he can start to use those soft tyres to chase after those ahead of him, but he's lost 3.6 seconds to Brando alone. That shows you the pace that fresh tyres have around Hungary.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brando is literally driving like a Brando possessed right now, to be honest. So yeah, he's going to be on the 3 cars in front, I think, before the end of this next lap. I think by the end of lap 30, he is going to be
hassling Louis.
Yeah, actually, end of lap 29, I think. Sorry.
We're on lap 29 now, so lap 30. Brando is coming for a pit stop, eating some Weetabix, and he's firing on all cylinders. Although I have just noted the flash of the light on the rear of the car. He's using a lot of ERS to get that pace out of the car. So will this unbelievable pace now start to retreat a little bit, courtesy of not having much ERS? And I'm surprised that he's used that much ERS with the fresh tyres.
Yeah, but I think this is maybe part of the plan is to catch up with these guys in front, and once he can get into that DRS, then obviously he can maybe start to try and replenish some of that ERS for later in the race. I say later in the race, there's only 6 laps to go, so yeah, I think maybe 5th might be all he can manage actually once he gets stuck in this traffic a little bit, but still be a really, really good recovery.
He's now on the tail. He's within DRS range of Louis. So this trio becomes a quartet. And JP911 is not catching as fast as I thought he might do on those soft tyres. But Brando all over the back of the Ferrari, almost going to do around the outside of the last corner. And I'm surprised Louis afforded him that much space because he didn't really deserve it. It looks like Louis just gone, you know what? You crack on, open the door for me and I'll follow you through.
Yeah, I mean it's a tactic some people like to employ is to, you know, if you think you've got realistically no chance of holding them back, let them have a go at the guys in front. You know, they may get into a little bit of grief with each other, and as you say, open that door back up again. But yeah, this is pretty spectacular stuff from the old team at the moment. I thought he was going to shape to the inside of 5, but backside of it. Can he get around to the chicane? It's going to be a late break-in, and yeah, just not enough space. So I think turn 12 is probably going to be his next spot.
Oh, there's contact. There was some definite contact between the two cars there, and it looked like Astrid got all out of shape. I don't think Astrid was going to be too happy about that one, but here comes Brando on ARL. I think he's going to be patient here, wait for the DRS and just make this move as easy as possible to give him as much time now to get up to Maggot.
Good save from Ashtube, to be fair. That car, I thought he was spearing off to the barriers then, so he did really, really well to save it. Also, while Brando is going to make the inevitable overtake here, I think at there, MDJ has the gap down under 2 seconds to Merc now.
It's just whether he can close that in time, because it's not coming down rapidly. He doesn't need to come down massively fast each lap, but in order to have a go at Merc, he will need to at least be on him by the 35th lap to have that DRS.
Yeah, Brando looking like, I think he could catch Maggot here as well, actually. I think that would probably be his limit now, regarding this race, unless anything drastic happens. But yeah, I'm expecting him to catch the Red Bull driver in front. But I mean, Maggot having a fantastic race, 4th place for him at the moment. Yeah, that's some great stuff from him. We've not seen him up that high for a while, I don't think. So
yeah, it's very good for the Red Bull to see that. Gap at the front, 1.6. We'll keep an eye on it. It's gradually coming down. Now, it's interesting because Merc doesn't normally like using the soft tyres. He said as much at Monza. He doesn't tend to enjoy running the soft tyres here on the game. Obviously today he has run the soft tyres and he's then run the mediums, so interesting that he's kind of like changed that philosophy for today's race.
yeah, I maybe feel that if Merch would have switched to the hard tyres on the pit stop, I feel that maybe he'd have actually, you know, maybe been able to gap MDJ and you know, keep that gap. But if the gap is slowly coming down, excuse me, that those mediums are starting to wear quite significantly. I think we were estimating they were wearing somewhere around 3.5% a lap, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's what we were
earlier this
estimating.
week. So yeah, I mean they've got to be approaching 70%. That's Nick Houston.
Nick Houston. We have a virtual safety car. Now, this can win and lose, because if you stay on your Delta, you can actually make time up on this virtual safety car. If you don't, you can lose time on your virtual safety car, so it'll be interesting to see how that gap fluctuates now. I mean, I'm not surprised Nick Euston's lost it where he did through turn 3, because his softs were 17 laps old.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, he was a very long way up on the exit of turn 3 as well, so I think he may have been fighting that one for some time before the car finally gave up on him. But yeah, one to look out for here is possible drive-throughs for anyone coming around the last corner. The delta is a little bit ridiculous with the swing towards negative, but I think everyone's got away with it.
And look at the time, 1.3. MDJ has used that virtual safety car wisely. Can he get within DRS by the end of this lap? If he does, this is going to make his job a little bit easier. But if he doesn't, he's going to have to make sure he's got enough ERS to get up to the back of Merckx and then overtake him with the DRS on the final lap. 1.1 the gap. I think he's going to be just outside the detection point just before the entry of the last corner. And he will be just outside for now.
Shape it up to be a good last couple of laps here at the front, isn't it? But Brando now within the 1 second of Maggot. We expect he will be. I mean, Maggot I think has a 3-second time penalty anyway. Indeed he does. So yeah, everyone has 3-second penalties except for JP, who currently sits on a 5-second penalty as it stands.
He's not far away from keeping that position to got spooked. He's only half a second away from keeping that position because there's a 2-second delta difference. There's Brando up into 4th place, so it's a good recovery from the Alpine, and as long as he makes no more mistakes, that should be his finish position. But MDJ now 9/10 of a second. I mean, realistically, we know how good Merckx is with his ERS. I've already seen what the ERS situation is. I'm not going to say what it is, but MDJ is going to want to be a little bit closer than this. Oh, he's lost the rear end. He's in the wall. Drama on the penultimate lap as MDJ was chasing after Merckx and a potential win, and it now becomes a Mercedes 1-2, and Brando Camerlengo finds himself on the podium.
Yeah, that's massive shame for MDJ. As you said, just one of those spots it can catch you out, can't it? And yeah, I'm gutted for him. Really, that was shaping up to be a fantastic final lap. But yeah, it's brought some of the other guys into it. ARL now up into 5th place. Ashtube obviously 6th, Louis 7th. Louis is going to struggle to get any higher than 7th because of his penalty. Yeah, that's just a massive shame. Massive shame for the Williams.
Looking back on the stream as like a replay, he's just gone over the curb, and we know how dangerous that curb is through that corner. I mean, he's not the first this week to be caught out by it and crash, and he certainly will not be the last this week either. So on to the final lap we go. Merckx now has a 6.2 second cushion, and it's to his teammate who has a penalty anyway, so I suspect there'll be no dramas from the top two. Just make sure they get through, and I suspect Merckx still going on the curves, which I'm very surprised at. If I was leading this race by 6.2 seconds with no real risk, I'd probably be staying away from them as much as I could.
I mean, luckily we never have to worry about leading races by 6.2 seconds, so, but yeah, I agree with you. I think I'd be giving them a fairly wide berth at the moment just to make sure, but yeah, here we go, covering the final corner.
So Merckx, he's going to come round, he's going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. He is the Season 18 Tier 1 Drivers' Champion. It's been another stellar season, and Stinos, his teammate, what a perfect way to wrap up the constructors for Mercedes. It's a 1-2 finish for the pair, and it's been a bit of a dream season for those two. Merckx on song all season bar one race, I think. Brando will finish 3rd after a hectic race for him. Maggot, I think, has run out of fuel somehow, and we've got a change on the line. Ashtube will pick up 4th place, courtesy of ARL letting him through. Maggot drops to 6th with that penalty, and because of that loss of fuel at the end, Louis picks up 7th, got spooked, will be 8th. JP 911 just over 3.5 tenths away from getting that position. But it's a surprise that Maggot's run out of fuel there around this circuit, especially with a safety car and a virtual safety car. And interesting that the two Alfa Romeos also swapped at the end there.
Yeah, very interesting. I think we spotted earlier that Ashtube let ARL through, didn't he, to try and attack the car in front, to attack Louis, I believe it was. So obviously a bit of a gentleman's agreement there. I think Ginger Tiger might have run out of fuel there right at the end as well. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, as you say, very surprising that there was any people running out of fuel at all there, to be honest. I didn't think the circuit was that bad, but there we go.
ARL gets the driver of the day by the game, and to be honest, I kind of agree with that because he's come from the back of the grid and he had a few issues at the start of the race. He's had a very good recovery drive back up to the top 5. Both him and Ashtube, to be honest, the pair of them, from where they were at the start of the race, it was a fantastic drive from both of them. But your drivers and constructor champions on the top steps of the podium, it doesn't get much better than that to win a season.
No, exactly, and as you say, a good way to confirm it really by having that 1-2 on the podium. It's great stuff, and it's been fully deserved. You know, they've both driven very, very well this season. Merck has been as solid as ever, and Stinos has backed him up. You know, more than well enough for them to make this happen. So yeah, congratulations to him. I think it'd be hard for anyone to disagree that it's very well deserved.
Bruce, would you like to take us through the provisional race results?
Yep. So yeah, winning the race from pole position is Merck with teammate Stinos in second, Brando an excellent recovery to third, Ashtube fourth with ARL in fifth, Maggot sixth with Louis seventh, Gotspook eighth, JP and ninth with Ginger Tiger 10th, and the retirements of MDJ, Nick Houston, Jack and Destiny.
So fantastic to see. I'm just going to see if I can get some Mercs into the party. So, the end of the Tier 1 Hungarian Grand Prix round 10 of the season. And we have the winner of the race here with us in the commentary box. Good evening, Matt. Congratulations. Not only the Hungarian Grand Prix winner, you are the, I'm going to say this word, provisional Tier 1 champion, because obviously it doesn't become official until after the stewards results, but provisional Tier 1 driver champion, and yourself and Stinos, provisional constructor champions for Mercedes. Congratulations to you and Stinos both. It was a fantastic race, and it was looking like a very close one at the end there.
Yeah, it's been a good season. I think me and Stinos, maybe not all the results have went Stinos' way, but he always came back and put a good result, so that's always good. Yeah, I think it's going to be very close between MDJ and myself at the end. I think I had a bit more ERS than him, so maybe I could have held off, but it was definitely going to be close.
Absolutely. Me and Bruce have been wondering this in qualifying. Your first lap tends to be on a set of intermediates, which we haven't really questioned until we saw it time and time again. We thought maybe the first time was, just a little bit of a, he didn't want to waste a set of tyres on that particular circuit, but you seem to do it consistently. What is the thinking behind that? Is that just genuinely not to waste a set of soft tyres so you've got a fresh set?
Yeah, partly, and also it's more just a test that everything's working wheel-wise and pedals, just in case, because I don't want to waste a tyre set if something's not working. But yeah, it's also just safe to set softs.
Interesting to have that sort of installation lab to check effectively your rig. It's obviously a very interesting thought pattern. I mean, we've never seen that before, so very interesting. Bruce, do you have any questions for Merkt?
Yeah, congratulations on provisionally being champion. I don't think there's much provisional about it, but and obviously your team obviously winning the constructors as well. We saw it last year with I think it was last season with Emir, and we've seen it this season obviously with yourself and Stinos being pretty sort of consistent. For anyone watching who's how do you keep that level of consistency through the season and that level of concentration through the season? How easy is it, and what would you suggest to people, that would want to try and sort of emulate that?
Yeah, obviously it's not always easy, but for me, as I've always said, I just keep it one race at a time. I don't really think about the championship that much, to be honest. Maybe, yeah, I give a bit more leeway when racing people if I know I'm close to the end of the season. But yeah, it's just trying to get the points. Sometimes people are going to try and overtake you and make moves because they can. It's just about being consistent and being able to finish the races as high as you can.
Absolutely, it's some very sound advice for everyone watching on that one. But as of obviously for the season, obviously you've defended your crown for the drivers. Obviously, we're going to have the new game in F1 24 for the next season. Because obviously it's being released at the end of May. What's your thoughts going into next season? Because obviously we'd love to see you defending your title once again. You got the option of being a 3-time champion in both drivers and constructors. I mean, do you obviously now that you've won it, do you start to have any thoughts about the next season, or is it still just a case of get through the next 2 races and then see what happens?
Yeah, obviously I want to enjoy the next 2 races and keep doing what I've been doing. But yeah, I hope to be there next season on the new game. I think it'll be interesting and hopefully a little shake up the grid a bit, and maybe it'll be a bit more interesting, a few more people at the top. But yeah, no, it's been a good season, and yeah, I'll definitely try and be there for next season and to try and defend obviously my title.
Absolutely. Well, Merckx, congratulations. You are the Hungarian Grand Prix winner and provisional Tier 1 drivers and constructors champion. No one can say it wasn't well deserved. You've been about as consistent as you get this year, so congratulations.
No, thank you very much.
But Bruce, we move on obviously with the with hopefully some other comments. We got Stinos with a comment saying qualifying was not the best for him. He forgot to put on his ERS on the first lap and made a mistake on his last lap. The first lap of the race, MDJ overtook him, and after the safety car, it was a pretty straightforward race. He did a few too many mistakes, so he couldn't keep up with MDJ. Lucky to be P2 after MDJ's unfortunate incident near the end of that race. I don't think I've got anything from Brando, so. But Bruce, looking forward, obviously, both championships won. We've got Mexico followed by Brazil. I mean, this could be a lot of fun now with both championships now sewn up. Obviously, there are positions still to be decided in the tables, but generally speaking, all pressure's off, and most of the time when it's like that, the drivers give an even better show because really there's nothing left on the line.
Yeah, as you say, there's still a few, I say, of the minor, not really minor placings to sort out before the end of the season. But yeah, I think now the championship talk is over. It gives a chance for everyone to sort of relax a little bit. And yeah, as you say, you can often get some pretty exciting races, and Mexico. It's an interesting circuit. I think the racing will be pretty close right now anyway, just due to the length of that main straight. And then obviously Brazil to close off the season's a fantastic circuit, and yeah, you always get drama around there. So yeah, definitely 2 races to look forward to close out the season, and yeah, it's been a good season.
Absolutely, and I mean, we still have 2 more races to commentate on, but so far for us, it's been probably one of the most entertaining ones we've done season-wise. I mean, obviously we know Merckx obviously won the series again a bit early, same as the constructors, but there's been a lot more racing going on, and generally speaking, Merckx has really realistically won this early because of others' mistakes and misfortunes.
Yeah, definitely, as you said, it's that consistency, isn't it, which is yeah, he's, as you say, even though on paper and looking at the points, it looks like he's sort of demolished the opposition. But I think race by race, it's not been like that. He's been put under a lot of pressure this season, and I think that just sort of shows that the gap that he does have, bearing in mind the amount of pressure he's been put under. Shows just what a good season he's actually had and how well he's driven.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we have time for Tier 1 tonight. So we thank everyone for watching and commenting. ARL just confirming that they did just do a switch around because ARL actually let him through earlier on in the race. So good teamwork there from Alpha and Mayo. But from myself and Bruce, thank you all for watching and commenting. If you have liked the stream, then do press the like button. And do press the subscribe button, because we do have more live action to come for season 18. Tomorrow we have the RP tier coming from Hungary. That's brought to you. That's been brought to you by ARL tomorrow. So make sure you join him at 8 o'clock for tomorrow's race. And then we're all back again next week for the penultimate round of round 11 at Mexico. Starting off with Tier 3 on the Monday, brought to you by Joe Hamster and JP911. Tier 2 on the Tuesday, brought to you by Jack TM53, Synopsis and Xerox. And myself and Bruce will be back on the Wednesday for Tier 1 as we get ever closer to the end of this season and closer to the new dawn of a new game for this year. But from everyone here, you've been watching the Invictus Racing League. This has been Tier 1 in partnership with Venturi Studios. Thank you for watching. Good night.